Well, hello and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. We're going to talk some men's basketball as the team started off their postseason play last night with a victory against Huntington University. And here to talk about that big victory is the head coach of the Wildcats, Greg Tonagel. And Coach, welcome back to Wildcat Week. I'll tell you what, we always talk about postseason play, tournament play. It's a new season, and if it is, you got off to the new season on the right foot. Played really well and came away with a big victory. And now you advance.
Yeah.
Really good win last night.
Yeah, part of it was we're coming off a loss, and I always expect our team to bounce back with a little more edge after a loss. And I thought we jumped on Huntington early, which was important to start off that way.
Well, they were down some guys. They had some injuries, some other things, and I thought that was key because when you got out on top of them early, maybe that initial energy and enthusiasm they had, I think that kind of put them back on their heels a little bit, to be fair.
Yeah, I kept waiting for maybe them to make a run, but I think our guys stayed with their foot on the pedal and didn't let up. And we were able to sub pretty generously and get some of our younger guys to play, and that was crucial because when they came in, I thought they continued the momentum. There wasn't a let-off.
Your defense, I would want to say, though, really kind of set the tone. After you mentioned the loss, one of the best things your team can do is come back and just really start to lock it down defensively. And I thought you did a pretty good job of that because Huntington can score points.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago when we played them at home, and they hit 18 threes on us, scored, I believe, high 80s, if not 90s. Maybe 90s. Maybe they had 94. I'm not sure. And this was the complete opposite for us defensively. We guarded as a team. We helped each other out. It wasn't perfect, but we were sure hustling and making plays for each other.
Well, as we take a look at some highlights of this first half now, we saw Kane Coffey knocking down a three, but the first there was, Grant Smith who drove the basket, but Grant is doing a really nice job. I don't know if you want to call him a point forward at times, but there's times he's moving the basketball well, but he's making good decisions, whether it's time to pass the ball, whether it's time to drive it. I like his game right now.
Grant just makes plays, and he's dynamic. And last night, man, he had it going on early. I mean, the way he was passing that basketball, the way he was finishing at the rim, like right there, he anticipated that long before anybody in the gym saw it.
Your bench played really well. You saw Seth with the alley-oop dunk there, but Isaiah Payton came in and played well. Trevor Waite, of course, is always playing well. That foul we didn't like right there, but Jonathan Ponzu got in there. I thought your bench was a real solid factor for you guys.
Bench was huge last night, and there you see Isaiah delivering a pass. Seth came in right away and finished around the rim too.
This first half, though, is kind of what we talked about, where you were able to think in that first half, kind of made a 28-8 run there, where it just kind of blew the game open. And the good thing was, like you said, you didn't slow down there. You really kept pushing and pressing and making some good things happen.
Yeah, I mean, a team like Huntington's always going to make a run at some point, and we limited their runs to 6, 8, never stretched into double digits.
There's the three ball that time, but Isaiah Payton, we've seen this before from him where guys don't respect his jump shot, and he can hit that shot.
He can really stroke it, and he just needs more opportunities. All these freshmen do. I mean, their minutes are limited because they're playing behind some All-Americans, so I think you're going to see those guys step up in big ways next year.
We saw Trevor Waite knocking down the three there. Got to mention, though, Mr. Connor Platt there. He did shoot the ball extremely well last night, finished with 26 points, and he was a big factor for them, keeping him as close as it was.
It was impressive last night. He moves constantly, and if you're guarding him, you're going to expend a lot of energy. And we put a lot of different guys on him, and obviously we never stopped him, but we tried our best to make him at least work for his points.
Well, now we're into the second half, and a nice little pull-up jumper off the dribble there from Kane Coffey. But when you look down the stat sheet for the Wildcats, it's balanced all over the place. Evan had the 17, Grant had 13, Kyle, of course, had 17, 11 for Kane Coffey. Isaiah had 9 off the bench, Seth had 9 off the bench, but all that to say that there was just a great movement and great ball distribution and an unselfish play.
Yeah, would we have? You said 24 assists on there.
Yeah.
When you have 24 assists on 30-some buckets, that means the majority of your scores had come off of ball movement and not necessarily just individual talented plays.
There's Kyle Mangus, about 8 minutes left in this game, 8.5 minutes. He had, 8-9 points. And Huntington, I don't want to say made a run, but started chipping away at the lead a little bit. And then Kyle just almost, not took over, but he knocked down some shots, made some things happen. And this was the highlight reel of the game here.
What a play. We've seen that from those two before. I mean, they've just got a connection. Maybe it's being in the same class, being roommates, being on the all-star team together, but what a play.
I got to ask you, that gets the crowd excited, that gets the announcers excited. Does it still get the old ball coach excited?
Oh, man. It gets me excited because I could never do anything remotely close. Well, I could have thrown the pass. I could have never caught that. My kids play on the Nerf hoop at home, and we were doing that this morning to try to emulate these guys.
Again, I thought, speaking of the bench, our last run of highlights here, I like the unselfish play demonstrated by the bench.
How about the highlight right there?
Yeah.
Panzu banking in the free throw.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's cutting these highlights is what I want to know.
I don't know. But, he had a couple other good plays, but, Trevor Harrell hit the three there. But, just good unselfish play at the end there. But now, you get that first game, under your belts. And either way, Perry and I were talking about this last night during the broadcast. This Final Four of the conference tournament is as good as it's ever been. You've been here 14 years. I've been around the Crossroads League for probably 25 years. I truly don't think I've seen 4 teams at the top. And you can throw 5 in there with Bethel that got knocked off in a 4-5 matchup. I mean, it's going to be a battle to the end between these two teams.
Well, it's 4 teams in the top 20 or top 10.
Yeah.
Never had that before.
Exactly.
It's 4 teams that I think have a legitimate shot of winning the entire thing. You could never say that before. And we obviously have Marion in front of us, who's won, I think, 7 straight and is playing as good as anybody in the country right now. So we're going to have our hands full on Saturday, but we're excited for the challenge.
That's why the regular season's so important, isn't it? Because you'd rather be playing Marion at home than on the road. And neither place is easy, but it is nice having that home floor advantage for a game like that.
Yeah, our fans have been great. The atmosphere has been electric, and we sure hope that's the case on Saturday.
Very, really a 1-week turnaround between the last time you played Marion and this time. I don't know if you're going to surprise them. They're not going to surprise you. It's just a matter of who wins or who plays the best.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the league at this point knows each other very well, and I think you can overdo it this time of year. So it's about resetting the mind, being very excited, passionate, focusing not on yourself but on your teammates, and let the rest take care of itself.
All right, well, Coach, congratulations again on the win, and hopefully got another one in the pocket for Saturday.
Let's hope. Thanks, Raj.
As we said, the Wildcats host Marion on Saturday as they compete in the Crossroads League Tournament semifinals. Tip-off for that game is at 3 p.m. in the Lucky Arena. Well, when we come back, we'll talk to the head coach of the women's basketball team, Ethan Whaley, after their big victory against Grace. Don't go away.
Your community voice. This is WIWU TV 51, Marion.
Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The women's basketball team played Grace in the first round of the Crossroads League Tournament and were able to secure the victory in overtime. And here to break down that action is the head coach of the Wildcats, Ethan Whaley. And Coach, welcome back to Wildcat Week. And some people might think, well, you're the 3rd seed and they're the 6th seed and all this kind of stuff. Grace was playing as good as probably anybody in the conference coming in this game, or as good. That was a big win for you guys, I felt.
Yeah. I mean, Grace came in having won 8 of their last 10, and their only 2 losses being to the number 7 and 8 team in the country. So they're a scrappy, pesky, physical group. It's a hard game to play. It's a hard game to officiate because you could call a foul on every play because of their aggressive nature. Their coach has done a terrific job this year of just getting them to buy in and be high energy, as we would say, a lot of juice on the floor. But I was really proud of our girls. It's hard to beat somebody 3 times, especially a team of that caliber, and we showed a lot of resolve, ended up pulling it out in overtime.
You talked about them coming in and playing well, but their style of play, it is a little bit different. They play a ton of zone, They're very active in that, though. They don't have a lot of height, but they're really quick and, like you said, very scrappy. So it does create some kind of different matchup problems and kinds of things you don't see from a lot of other teams in the league.
Yeah. Like you said, they're smaller. I mean, I think their average height of their guards is 5'5". They started one girl that was 6 foot, but everybody that came off the bench is under 6 foot. So we had to be a little bit more active and move a little bit more laterally than we're used to on the perimeter defensively. But the stat that stuck out was we owned the rebounds by 17. Yeah. We had 22 offensive rebounds in that game. And we beat them at the free throw line. So I was proud of the way that we used our size to our advantage.
Well, we start out the action here, and you got to start and probably finish this game talking about the game that Dayton Groninger had for you there. We saw her knock down the three a second ago, and then she, with the nice cut to the basket there in the finish, moved the ball well. But Dayton had just a spectacular night for you guys. 23 points, 8 rebounds there. She knocked down another 3, but what can you say about her?
Yeah, I mean, Dayton has been somebody that when she gets hot, man, she can really get hot. And she obviously got going early. Our team did a really good job finding her. And she did a great job of catching every time. Fearless, as we would say. And she gave our team a big boost. Because when we needed a bucket, it felt like Dayton was the one that came through for us.
But this is kind of a good example right there of you guys multiple times in this game would get out to a 6, 7, 8 point advantage, and then right back at you, Grace would knock down some shots, and they refused to go away, even though you really led for almost the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and we knew that was going to happen in our previous meetings. We've been up even as much as 18 to 20, and they come back and cut it below 10. So we knew that was how it was going to be. You can never take your foot off the gas. I mean, I want to credit our defense. We played good defense, and they just hit tough shots.
Yes, they did.
There's times you just got to tip your cap to them and go the other way.
Carly Lang there for you guys with the steal and the layup. She's been playing some pretty good defense, speaking of defense for you guys, and chipped in 13 points as well, so really solid night for her.
Yeah, Carly, even last year, has been our X factor ever since I got here, and when Carly plays well, that usually bodes well for our team, and Tuesday night was no exception. Carly, when she was playing well, our team was playing well.
This was a point in the game where in the second quarter, it's tight, and all of a sudden you guys, do some good things. You actually got up, I think, by 8 points here at one point with that big shot there. But 2 minutes left to go. They go on an 8-0 run of their own to tie this up going into the locker room at the half. And so they kind of stole the momentum away from it a little bit.
They really did. You said it. We jumped out to an 8 or 10 point lead. And then with 2 minutes left, actually more like 3 minutes left, that we caught the turnover bug. And I think we turned it over 4 of our next 6 possessions to finish the half.
So now into the third quarter. That third quarter was just a really hard-fought quarter of basketball, back and forth. I think you won that quarter like 15 to 14, something like that. But they were hitting shots, you guys hitting shots, making defensive plays, scrapping and hustling. And I guess that's the way it's supposed to be, though, in the postseason.
Yeah. Again, when you play really good teams and when you've played each other this many times and know each other so well, at the end of the day, sometimes it just comes down to one team made one more play than the other team, and that's kind of how it came down to.
You talk about difficult shots. Look at that. And that was just one of several like that. Now, I'm going to be honest, I thought she got away with a little bit of push on the rebound, but that was the kind of night it was going to be, wasn't it?
That was the kind of night it was, man. It was physical, it was emotional. But again, give credit to Grace. They made tough shots, made big plays when they needed to. And Minix was no exception. We're coming up on that last second shot that's giving me nightmares here, Raj.
Oh, yeah. Because in the fourth quarter, again, you were able to extend a little bit of lead, but they knocked down shots. And even as full court pressure, I thought you did a pretty good job dealing with their full court pressure. It caused a few turnovers, but I don't think they got out of it what they wanted to.
Yeah, in the first half, they did turn us over and sped us up. In the second half, we were able to kind of regain our composure and did a nice job. Now,
that was the answered prayer that put the game into overtime, and you guys got one last look at it, but they did a good job defending that. But we're going to, actually, now we're into overtime, and that's where, got to talk about Katie Key in overtime. She just was huge. And the fact that you guys jumped out, got the first 4 points overtime, and got the lead, that was big.
Yeah, I was so proud of our team. I'll be honest, though, I asked them in the locker room. We scored 20 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. Where was that the first 40?
No doubt.
There was a lot of poise, and like we said, we showed a lot of resolve. You know, we were able to come together. They had just had that victory. They had the momentum. I came into that huddle and knew we were going to take care of business.
Yeah, Katie came right back down. She hit the three, got a layup, hit another three. And I know after the game, she just said, you know, she was bound and determined this wasn't going to be her last game in a Wildcat uniform. And so now, you know, you get the big victory. It sets up the rematch with obviously not only one of the best teams in the league, but one of the best teams in the country in Marion. We'll head down to Indianapolis on Friday night for the semifinals. But you've taken them to the wire twice, and I know your young ladies should feel confident going into that game that they're capable of pulling out the victory there.
Yeah, Marion's another great team, and there's no disrespect here, but we believe we deserve to be in this game, and we believe that we can win this game. Last 2 times we've had the lead with 3 minutes or less in the game, and obviously, you know, we were tied with 10 seconds left last time at their place, and they got us. But we're confident. We believe that we're going to go down there and steal a game from them.
You know, talking about national tournament might be just a little bit early for that talk, but to get this victory here, to get to the 20-win plateau, I think back at the beginning of the year, you always look at maybe that 20-win plateau as a big marker, and to get that to that point this year with this last win against Huntington, I thought that was big too.
Yeah. There's a lot. Even when you just take out the national tournament stuff, typically if it's a 20-win season, you feel good about the year, depending on expectations and all that. But I think with 20 wins, you put yourself in the discussion for an at-large bid. If we go down on Friday night and take care of business, we secure that bid. We're going to the national tournament.
Awesome. Well, Coach, again, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the victory, and we'll be watching the Wildcats on Friday night.
Thank you, Raj.
All right. Well, the women's basketball team will indeed be traveling to Indianapolis to take on Marion Friday evening. That game time is at 7 p.m. Well, when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will bring us the breakdown, and we'll talk to head baseball coach Rich Benjamin about the start of their season. So don't go away. Welcome back to Wildcat Week. We send it over now to Mikala Woodfork with this week's breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. The baseball team had a doubleheader against Cincinnati Christian and won one and lost one. They won the first by a landslide at a score of 10-2. The second game was a much closer game, ending in a 2-1 loss. Cheerleading competed in the Crossroads League Championship in Fort Wayne and received second place for the second year in a row. They scored an 82.4, just 0.9 points behind St. Francis. The track and field teams participated in Notre Dame's Alex Wilson Invitational, and man, did they put on a show. Brendan Coyle reached a new personal record and a new program record in the shot put with an A standard throw of 17.5 meters, this being the third best throw in the country. Paige Sutter also earned a new personal record in shot put at an A standard mark of 13.65 meters. And Jesse Saxon set a new personal record and a new program record in the 3,000 meter run at an A standard time of 8 minutes and 29 seconds. Men's tennis went up against Davenport and lost 4-0, leaving them at 17-3 thus far in the season. The women's team also faced Davenport and won 6-0. The women's basketball team won a tough game in overtime against Grace, ending at 81-74. Senior Nicole Ignashik scored her 1,000th point this game, becoming the 29th player to do this in Wildcats history. She also has a total number of 575 rebounds in her career as the Wildcat, putting her in the top 20 for the school. The men beat Huntington University by a whopping 32 points in the Crossroads League quarterfinals, ending in a score of 94-62. Well, that's all I have for you this week on The Breakdown. Back to you, Roger.
Well, thank you, Mikala. Now, this baseball season has been underway for the past couple weeks, and here to talk about the start of a new season is the head coach of the Wildcats baseball squad, Coach Rich Benjamin. And Coach, it's been a while, so I got to welcome you back to Wildcat Week.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It doesn't look like baseball weather outside, doesn't feel like it, but it is baseball time. So you guys actually have 8 games under your belt. Kind of have to like hop in the buses and go all over the place to make that happen. But you do have 8 games under your belt, starting off 4-4. Can you give us a sense of how the Wildcats have been playing so far?
Yeah, so we had a few trips down south that got canceled because of weather, and we were able to play a little closer to home in Westfield, an hour away. The temperatures haven't been ideal, to say the least. It's definitely not been baseball weather, but it's been nice to get out there and give our guys a chance to play together and get our season going. So 4-4, played really well against Midway, a really competitive team from down in Kentucky. And we've seen an advanced approach to the plate start to develop. We've pitched the baseball really, really well, and we've defended at a high level. I like our athleticism, and in February it's just about getting out there and starting to get into rhythm as you head into your spring break trip.
Well, as you come into this season, the expectations are really probably higher than they've been in a long time if you consider the success the Wildcats had last year, the Crossroads League regular season champions. I think that was the first time since the mid-'80s. Made a trip to the NAI National Tournament, 20-6 in league play. So you're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore, I don't think. Yeah. But that's good. That's where you want to be, isn't it?
Sure. We're building towards bigger and bigger objectives and goals and expectations each year, and the guys are doing a good job creating momentum in that area. We really haven't talked at all about last year, the whole year. That was something we committed to do together after we got through last season. Each year, your team is a new team. Even if you return a lot of your impact guys, they're in different places, and you're trying to create some momentum for the current year. So you treat each year independent of the one before it.
Had to ask you about one of the new members of your coaching staff this year, Coach George, Coach G. He brings a wealth of experience, not only in terms of athletics, but in life. And also, he's pretty popular on Twitter, too, isn't he?
He's pretty popular in every circle that he touches. And, I actually met Coach G for the first time in the early part of the summer. Right about that time, we had an opening come up in our staff. And about several weeks later, I was down in Tennessee visiting some family, and I really felt like I needed to give him a call. And so I gave him a call and connected with him. And what we were really looking for was somebody that had a good baseball background that we could trust to own a few areas in the program on the field. But more than that, we're looking for somebody that could just love our guys really well and be a good voice and a good ear for them, and to really help some of the discipleship initiatives that we got off the ground this fall. And so between Coach G and Coach Holtz, Bryce Davis is on staff, myself, and then Andrew Breitenbach, who had a career-ending injury, who's stuck around to help serve our guys. I think we've all taken a really strong impact in discipleship, and Coach G's been big in that department as well.
Getting back to the baseball aspect of things, always big is that spring break trip. You get a chance to get away. You hopefully get a lot of games under your belt. This year you're heading down to Tennessee. What are you looking for out of that trip?
Yeah, we've looked at February as like a time where you start to kind of create some momentum. The young guys get a feel for the game. The old guys, take another stride, and you got to learn how to play together. And you play enough in February that when you go to the spring break trip, the expectation is that you begin to hit a stride as a program on the field, and then off the field, just getting the time together in the bus, the discipleship time that you get together, the fellowship time you get together. You're in the hotel for 5 or 6 nights. You share a lot of meals together. The hope is that you continue to build those bridges and make those things stronger on that trip before you get back and open up conference play.
Well, Coach, good to see you again. Glad to have you back on Wildcat Week, and we can't wait for a little bit warmer weather to get out there and watch Wildcats in action.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, well, when we come back, we're going to, actually, not when we come back, should mention that the Wildcats will be back in action tomorrow against Indiana Tech. That game will start at 1 p.m. They have a 4-game series this weekend down in Westfield. Well, that is all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. And if you'd like to see more Wildcat Week, you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Again, that is wiwtv.com. And you can stay connected with all our local programming by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's WIWTV 51. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. So for all of us here, thank you for watching Wildcat Week.